This podcast is brought to you by Allies. Allies is all about bringing growth to the software services industry. It's a platform where hundreds of companies grow together by exchanging talents, projects, and best practices. In this podcast, we will bring you the stories of the most successful companies and people in the business. We cover topics from sales, marketing, HR, and culture to give you ideas for future growth. Hi and welcome to Allies podcast. I'm your host Tomi Kaukinen, and together with me today is Saana Rossi. Welcome.
Thanks.
How are you doing?
Quite good. I'm looking forward for the autumn time and having some speech gigs and writing my book and all that. So very excited.
We have a lot to cover today. You are doing exactly what, and what is your background?
Well, good and quite wide question. I have background in HR, communications and recruitment and employee branding as well. Basically 15 years. I have worked in different industries and different companies in different roles. And currently I'm working as an entrepreneur, kind of. I'm writing my second book. It's not about recruitment.
We're gonna come to that.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you anything about my second book, but my first one was about recruitment. So I'm really enthusiastic about recruitment and employee branding. I think it's such an important topic, especially nowadays when the situation in work life is what it is. Besides that, I'm talking and speaking about HR, recruitment, leadership, culture, meaningfulness of the work, all those areas. And then also I'm sitting in different boards. So kind of like my own hybrid work life.
How are you enjoying that?
Very much. I wouldn't change this to anything. I really love it. I love the freedom. I love that I have my schedule on my own hands and I get to do what I want. I don't have to ask anybody.
But before you jumped off to entrepreneurship, because I know for a fact that it was like 1 year ago?
Yeah, a year ago,
like that. You were working for a software service company.
Yes, I was working for a tech company, Vincit, that you might have heard of before. Yeah. And I worked there for 5 years. My latest role was an HR director, but I have mainly focused on recruitment and employee branding. And as you all know, the IT sector is very difficult. At the moment, especially in Finland, there's lack of 15 to 20,000 people in that area. So the recruitment is very difficult. It's very difficult, and you need to turn every stone and do all the tricks you can do to attract talent. So it was a good school in a way, for doing recruitment. And I was awarded as a recruiter of the year in Finland.
Oh.
First one,
nice.
2018, and was very happy about it because I feel that the acknowledgement raises the awareness of recruitment in generally and raises the level of recruitment.
Yeah, it's we're gonna cover that actually in quite wide. My background, is in startups and stuff, and recruitment is It's a little bit wild west, and for us, it's it's so hard to find talent. So in a small startup, for us, it's, for example, let's say we are 3 founders and we're gonna hire the 4th. It's 25% of the company. And you probably sit in a room like this. So when you put out the ad and you find one candidate that's even remotely good, you take them, and if it's okay when you meet with them, you hire them on the spot. So we had interviews where we met someone on Friday afternoon, and we said, can you start on Monday? And you just grab them.
Yeah.
So for us, what you are doing as a recruiter, it seems very scientific.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
What would you counter with if I'm saying this? What's your argument? We need to go through the whole process.
That's actually a very good question, because I have seen recruitment processes that takes 1 day, not 2 weeks or a month or 3 months. Yet at the same time, there are so many companies that are doing recruitments in very old-fashioned way. And the problem is that when you're in a situation like we are currently, that there's lack of or shortage of talent at the market, you need to be fast. You need to be agile. You need to be like doing everything you can that you can have the talent to your organization. Yeah. So like when you're interviewing on Friday and hiring on Monday, well, that's just good business. And I absolutely recommend to do that. But in order to be able to do that, it means that you need to be very clear about what you're looking for. Like, what is the role about and what kind of personality do you need? And one of the biggest problems that the companies have is that they don't specify enough, like the role and the needs that they are looking for.
Okay.
So I definitely suggest companies to think about more of that. Like, be very clear about what you're looking for, but because normally, like recruiters and leaders and all that are like used to the fact that they can dictate what do we want to have.
Exactly.
And then you get like this miles or kilometers long wish lists about, okay, we want to have this and this and this and this. And then you're like creating like this ideal person that
doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And during the process, you're probably going to lose a lot of good candidates because nobody is like up to those criteria.
But also, I think because of probably a little bit of the current climate, because of the mass hysteria or reactions in social media or whatever it is, if you even try to be a little bit edgy, you create these huge scandals and stuff. The job applications are very, very generic.
Yeah, they are. And that's a big problem.
It is a problem, right?
It is because when it's generic, it doesn't really it doesn't attract the right kind of talent. It doesn't like focus on the exact focus group that you want to attract. And it's boring.
Yeah,
it's boring.
It's
you
super
need
boring.
Yeah, you need to be edgy and you need to like be bold and be brave and be authentic. That is what like attracts. If you think about different kind of brands, you're probably the most interested in the brands that are making statements or are doing something differently or doing the kind of like words or communication that others don't. Like,
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you come to employer branding, I mean, surely applications are part of employer branding. They must be a huge part of employer branding.
They are, but they're only one part, but huge.
Yeah, because if you look at, you go to certain platforms and you look for jobs, and it's always the same. Like, it's almost tiring to see like team player, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what is this company? Like,
and the key is that if you want to have a team player or team players, you should specify what team player means. What does it mean? Because then it becomes interesting. Okay, what does it mean to us? Because it can mean different things to different employers. Yeah. And like being specific is the thing. Like if you ask or if you say that, okay, we have great benefits and great company culture. Okay. Well,
that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, everybody has the same thing. Like what does that mean? Like what is like great benefit to you? It can be something different than what it is to me.
Oh, this is so.
And I would like to know that. Okay, is it like a good extra healthcare? Is it like some bonuses or some nice trips to like outside?
Remote?
Yeah, remote.
Work.
Yeah, what is it? What is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's this. I could talk about this for so long. And I mean,
I
remember
me too.
we had these work applications back when you could actually stretch it a bit without people going crazy like now.
Yeah.
And we were writing in the applications like we're a small team. We're just 5 people or 6 people. We would prefer if you stand up by this comedian and you like this because then we share the humor because you sit in a small space.
Yeah.
And you don't want someone who's like totally the opposite of you sitting. So what is this culture fit that everybody's talking about right now? Is that culture fit?
Well, in my opinion, the cultural fit like term it's like wrongly used term in a way because usually like people don't like it because in their minds it means that okay they only want like certain types of people to the company.
Yeah.
And well, it's not about that. It's not about okay that we don't want women or we don't want that ages or like different like nationalities or anything like that. but it's more about like, what is our culture about? Okay, we are like relaxed and humorous people. So it's more beneficial that there is a newcomer who is same. Yeah, like it's relaxed.
But the atmosphere seems to be like you can't look for that. You need to like include everyone. But that's not how you build a company culture, is it? Like it's
I definitely understand what you mean. I think that there's like both sides are kind of like true. It's good to like question your own ideas about what our company culture is about.
True.
And how can we develop it to become like better and how can we include more people? But at the same time, if you're hiring someone who is very formal to the informal company culture, it's not going to work. So you still need to like really know what your company culture is about and be able to communicate it outside. Yeah. So I say like that.
Very good point.
Yeah. Both things are true.
In your experience, when you look at like founders and stuff, they tend to be quite stubborn and quite a little bit original in a way. They don't listen that much maybe to others. Stuff.
Some do. Yeah.
So like, what is your advice for people that going into this role when dealing with like very stubborn founders that basically just like, okay, and then they just ignore what you say?
Very difficult question. I'm not sure actually if there is an good answer to this, because it's much about personality. But I have experienced that whenever you want to influence some person, like you need to, or make some changes, you need to find person who like who the CEO or the founder really appreciates. And then go through that way and try to explain this, that, okay, you can't be this stubborn because the company is dying or something else, this doesn't benefit the company. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good strategy actually. Find a confidant.
Somebody who the CEO values. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we talked about the bland messaging of like job applications and stuff.
Yeah.
But if we now go to the software services business here, looking at it from outside, you're looking at different companies, and you're looking at how they brand themselves. And Antti Kiukas said the only difference between the software companies is the color of their brand.
I understand.
So what I see is the same. I'm like, okay, the people are moving like between these organizations, and it's made up of people. Like, how do you differentiate yourself as an employer? Like, what do you do?
Unfortunately, well, this is a very dull answer, but you can't. If I'm being very straight, you really can't. Because like in the IT sector, not every, but most of the companies have like developed their culture to the top-notch culture, as well as leadership, as well as benefits and salaries and all that. So they are already in a very high level. So there's not much they can still do to differentiate themselves from the others. But still, in the IT field, I would still want to see more authentic branding and more authentic communication, because that is really something that you can do differently, because every company is different. Every company has their own stories and the reason why they're existing and different kind of future where they're going. So I would hoping to see like more diverse, authentic communication and more bold statements.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, do it differently. And I always say to different companies that if you want to attract talent or attract attention, be more specific about the downsides of your company, because not so many companies are doing that. So, and when you're talking about like what kind of like issues or problems do we have, because every company has issues and problems, you don't need to hide it. It's more interesting and like
spicy.
It's spicy and. For example, in the recruitment, when you're interviewing people, when you're talking about the problems in the company, it usually attracts trust. Like it creates trust, that people start to trust you because you're able to speak openly and you're not afraid that, okay, what does he or she think about us now? And when the person is hired, they don't have too higher expectations about the company because they already know realistically, okay, what kind of difficulties does this company have?
Yeah. Also, if you wanna attract the talent, all the companies also have the same offerings. So they offer the same services to everyone. And one way to attract talent is to become a little bit more niche.
Yeah.
So create some kind of, company that is only like you own it, but it's still, it's a subsidiary that you own, but you still niche on something. What do you think about that kind of strategy? Because I think it's happening.
It is, and that's good strategy, definitely. Yeah, I would like say go for it.
So everyone should just like put themselves to pieces and
Yeah. I think so. Well, not every company, but some companies definitely should do that because when you're offering everything to everybody, well, it
doesn't work anywhere.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yeah, and still, like previously, we talked like more like in near history, we talked more about software companies. Now the software companies has named themselves as tech companies. It's not only software; it's like tech, like generally. So that is like the thing, like the future that they're going to.
Okay, so they are tech companies now.
Yeah, they are tech companies. It's not software companies, but it's tech companies, and that tells a lot, like what you just raised.
Yeah, but it's a bit misleading to me because when I think tech companies, I think like tech companies from like Silicon Valley,
Yeah, but it's more like it's more high.
So what about the people who you hire in your previous job or in general, the people who go to the software companies or tech companies now, how much do they actually care
about what?
About the company culture and all this stuff?
Actually, they do care. They do care a lot, but of course, it depends on the individual because everyone has like different hopes about their future employer. But yeah, they do care about that because like usually people want to work in a company that is good company. Like you want to have a good leader. You want to have a company that the culture works and your colleagues are nice and you're able to learn something and you're able to build products or tools that are amazing. So they do care because the company culture really affects.
But how different are the cultures?
I would say that they are, but not like super different. But there are, of course, things that are different depending on the company. Yeah.
And how much does like geographical location play part here? For example, in Finland?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I think it plays some part, but still in the IT field or tech field, the most companies like have already like developed their culture and workplace very much because they have no other choices. they have to do it. Yeah. They have to do it because the competition is so fierce.
Yeah, because that was also one of the points that we thought about is, it's the growth, the demands for growth within the company in the end leads to this uniformity or conformity of all companies. So they want to grow, so they start a new kind of, we do also service design or whatever it is, then they do that. And everybody does that.
Yeah.
Should someone just say, no, we are actually not going and we're going to be...
I think so. And I'm pretty sure that we are going to see more of this kind of like in the future, that they are not doing everything for everyone anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was some growth automation stalker that Antti also talked about in my pod with him. And so, okay, we're going to see that. But who will have actually the courage to say no to...
Paying customers.
And focusing instead of being like the dominant force in a specific area at the cost of not doing everything. That's a tough call.
It is. But I'm pretty sure that there are companies that are already thinking about it because they don't have much choice. Because if the offering is too spread, then there's difficulties, for example, to attract all that talent. And then when you don't attract talent, you're not going to have those kind of projects or whatever you're doing. So, and then you're not going to give out the things that you want to give out.
In terms of employer branding, amidst this, probably there is some big changes going on now. Are people at least thinking about this?
Yeah.
Because everybody surely understands that they are copies of each other.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it. So, in terms of employer branding, what would you say are, a couple of significant parts of employer branding? What would you say are the some key components of employer branding?
Currently?
Yeah.
What
that affects, your employer branding from, if I come from the outside and look at this.
Yeah.
What are the things that affect the most?
Well, I think that the most the important thing is that you really need to know your target group, the people who you are targeting your brand to. Just don't target it to everyone. Because you're not attracting everyone. So you need to be more specific, be more specific about everything. If you want to attract JavaScript software developers, be very specific about it. Think about what they are interested in, where they are, what they are doing, what kind of things are they talking about, what is interesting in their field. And then send your message straight to them. So I think that is the one thing that you should definitely do. And then just I really would love to see the authentic communication.
Yeah.
And who is the first company to bring to their website the downsides of the company? Because
there's some tips.
Yeah, because companies already have the benefits openly on their website. We
only
have
benefits.
Only benefits. We have this and this and this and 20 different things. But there's not much info about we're quite poor with the communication, or we're quite poor with the leadership, or something like that.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
Okay, so we're rolling back to authenticity. I mean, authenticity always works, I would say.
Yeah, it works. And also one thing I would like to mention is that people usually ask me what is the quickest way to attract talent?
Very good question.
Can you give me just one easy thing to do to fix it? And I'm also always there's no easy fix. You need to do it strategically, and you need to build a brand in long term. But still, if you want to attract easily talent, I would say that just open your salaries. Do open salary policy and tell it about outside your company, because salaries are still taboo in Finnish work life.
Yeah.
The companies that are able to break that taboo are very interesting and gain attraction. Yeah.
But that's a very interesting topic that I know a lot of people have opinions about. So are you saying that job ads should have the salary in it?
Definitely. Not exactly the exact salary, but at least salary range. Yeah. Okay. Why not?
Interesting.
Yeah. Because usually we ask the candidates to give us your salary request.
That's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Because I had a friend call me yesterday. He was applying for a new job, and he's changing country. So he went and checked the stats, what's my position?
Yeah.
And the span for that position was 5 to 10K.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's a little bit difficult. That's pretty wide.
Yeah.
And he was going for the bottom. I was like, why are you doing that? Because if you go for the upper range, it's not they're going to shred your application. They're probably going to give you a counter offer, I think. I would assume at least. So that you have, if they say yes immediately to your low end spectrum, you're going to go think about I undersold myself.
Yeah. I understand.
So if you get, what do you do if you put a range there and somebody goes for the top? What does that signal to you as a recruiter?
Well, I would like to dig in more. Why is the salary on the high end of the range, and are there good valid
Is it merited?
Yeah. Like, is it merited? And just like start negotiating. Yeah.
But it's not like it's gonna go to the shredder.
I don't think so. No, definitely not.
Because for me, it's also like it can signal two things for me if I hire someone. It can, on the downside, be just being a boosted ego, but it can also signal quality.
Yeah,
like this person is very, very confident.
Yeah,
in this
and the person knows what he or she's
worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's like that. It's interesting.
Yeah. But of course, you have to be prepared for that you will get like different kind of people who are like you will have like 5 people who are like asking 10,000 a month, and probably they don't all deserve it. Like they don't have like real like grounds for asking that. Mm-hmm. But you shouldn't be afraid of it.
No, I think so too. I think assertiveness or like this, not aggression, but assertiveness in applying, I think it's always good thing. I get an advice when I had my first salary negotiation, just slightly off topic, maybe.
Yeah.
From my cousin. I just started working straight out of school in a fund. I was a fund management, and I was moving to Finland from Sweden back then. And then I called my cousin, who was this executive in a big company, and I was like, "What am I gonna do? What are the best strategies for getting my salary raised?" And he said, like, "Okay, so you do it like this: you go in to the room with your boss, and then you say what you want, and then you just quiet. You don't say anything. You just sit out until somebody breaks."
Did you do that?
Yeah, I did it. And it was the most horrible 15 seconds of my life. So I went to my boss. I was like, I think I made 2,800 euros. This was in 2006. And I said, I want 3,800 euros. I put a huge rise on it. And then I was just silent. And he was silent. And we both sat silent. And I saw he's becoming red here, and I'm like, don't break. And I got it.
Oh, you got it, yeah. That was good.
And then I called my cousin, like, I got this
it
raise.
worked.
And I tried it a couple of times, and it always works. But then my cousin told, because he's telling the story, so people tried on him, and he immediately like, don't pull that on me. I tried that with you. So in case you try it sometimes, please let us know. Send us on LinkedIn or something. I want to hear about this strategy. Soon we're going to have this silent wage negotiation group somewhere. And don't try that on me either. But okay, so just a small digression here. So salaries in the actual job ad. Are there any negative sides on the salary in the ads? Are there any downsides of doing that?
Well, usually companies are afraid that competitors will know the salary like levels that the company has, but I don't think that's so bad. Like, I'm all for the openness, and usually like industries like the companies in the same industry pretty much already know. Yeah. Because they hear about it from their employees and all that. So I don't think you should be like so afraid of that.
No, but why is there this negative sentiment around this? Why is people objecting to this?
Well, one thing is that they're afraid that if we put the salary range on the job ad, then our employees know what kind of salary are we paying to the newcomer, and that might raise some questions and issues, and but that is quite a good thing, because it forces the company to have the salary discussion inside and see are the levels okay.
Oh my God. Yeah. That can open up a Pandora's box.
Yeah, I have seen it. It does do that, yeah.
You put out the span for a job, and then you have the people in the office who have below the span, and they're going to be like, excuse me.
Yeah. But that, I think that is like one of the biggest things that people are afraid of it.
But I see it happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's authentic.
But I urge to try it. Try it at least. Then you can see like put two quite similar job ads out and put the salary range to the other, and then see what does it do. Like which attracts more
Of
talent.
course. Yeah, sure. I forgot. You can do A/B testing with this stuff too.
Yeah.
I never thought about doing A/B testing with job ads.
Yeah.
But that's good,
Yeah,
actually.
you absolutely can. Yeah, and you should try it.
Let's say this company now comes out and says, we have these salaries and we are not good in doing that and that. What do you think other companies will think?
Well, that's brave. At least I would think. I would think that, well, that's interesting. I want to see what happens. Yeah.
Maybe that's a low threshold way to diversify yourself a bit.
Yeah.
That's a very small step still.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's quite easy steps to take. It doesn't require any budget to do that. And usually when somebody starts something, the other companies are following because they don't have any.
How much does that happen?
It happens. It happens.
How much do recruiters and these software service companies spy on each other?
Oh, very much. Yeah. They are very well aware of what others are doing. Yeah.
What is your advice to a junior recruiter?
Junior recruiter?
Yeah.
I would advise to hire or recruit in different roles, not only software developer roles, but try to gain experience and knowledge about different roles in the company, and change companies. That's a good one because when you see different kind of work environments and different industries, also you're much more experienced, or you gain some experience doing the recruitment.
How often do you think you should change jobs?
Well, that depends on you, but there's no right answer to this. It depends on the person.
Because you hear these stories where people are saying, if you look at someone's CV and we have 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 2 years, 1 year, 1 year. If I'm recruiting someone, I'm gonna be probably thinking why is this person changing jobs all the time?
Yeah.
And then I become a little bit skeptic. Is this person going to stay with me for more than this year?
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
It's of course it's valid concern to have, and if it's only 6 months or 1 year, I would be also worried about what is he or she wanting, and what, is there some problems and all that. But if somebody has 2 years or 3 years, I think that's valid.
Yeah, me too.
It's because, for example, I'm the kind of person who wouldn't have never imagined to stay over 3 years in the same company. But I worked for Vincit for 5 years, which was mind blowing. Same company, but it was so interesting, and it was growing so fast that everything changed all the time. So that was the thing that attracted me. But just generally, if somebody is 2 years at the same company, that's fine. That's fine, because the work life is so hectic there, and especially in the IT or tech field, the environment is changing so rapidly. So I just think it's normal.
What about the opposite then? Somebody been in the same place for 20 years?
Well,
I would think it's a bit comfortable,
Yeah, well, I don't see it as such a big problem, because it really comes up with the person. If the person is someone who's changed roles or gained more expertise and widened their knowledge or something like that, and the company has changed, it has grown or whatever. Then it's really valid, 20 years at the same company, because people are different. Some want to have the safe, secure working place, and some people want to change it in every 2 years, or have different kind of motivations of different parts of their life. So
I just one of my acquaintances just quit his current job and started working, and his description of the software service company was this is the place where developers go to die.
Nice.
That's not a nice reputation to have.
That's good. Yeah.
So what about candidate testing?
Well, some do that, some don't. In my opinion, I think it's more valid to have some testing than interview questions, because you will probably see like the actual level of how they're working and what is the level of their like.
But not only like if you look at Myers-Briggs or all these, but like specific like domain coding development.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely that. But when the market situation is what it is, you should be very careful about that is the testing. It's not too heavy. Because you might lose the candidate. Because if they are having like multiple recruitment processes going on at the same time, they're probably not going to pick you if your process is way too heavier than the competitor's process.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But do recruiters think about that?
Yeah, they do. At least like professional recruiters, they do think about that. Because it's people's market at the moment. It's not companies' market.
Has everybody understood that?
I think at least in the IT field, they have. Because the situation has been going on so long.
Yeah.
But other industries are coming like way behind. Not every, but for example, the industries that have now like woken up to the situation that, oh my God, we don't have enough people and people are leaving and changing jobs and the people turnover is too high.
Because like the branding, once again, the brand, as in every business, it makes you recession safe. When there's a talent shortage, if your brand is really good and you're a really good employer brand, you are going to get the talents.
Yeah, that's so true.
So it's like, so it's an investment that you really should invest in, because when bad times hit,
absolutely,
you're going to be just sucking up all the talent.
And you can see that happening right now. And that's why, even though when you're not like actively recruiting, you should like focus and put some efforts to your employer branding. Absolutely. Because it's a long term.
Exactly.
It's like a marathon. It's not a sprint, it's marathon. And you should really like start doing it from the day one.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, companies like Apple, they have such a strong brand already. So they can probably do a lot of like semi-bad stuff for 10 years. Probably 90% will still buy their stuff because of their brand image. So I think that's a very valuable lesson that people might not think about. Supercell is probably one example of, and I think Rovio was one too, where everybody wanted to work. And they just drained the whole market of talent. And problem for smaller companies was that when big companies, they're not all only attractive, but they also pay more. And that's happened to my developers. They've been sucked up and they get like huge pay raises. And I'm like, I can't compete with that. So are some companies actually overpaying people that didn't?
Yeah, they are. They are, and that is their way to attract people. But not all people. Like the really high salary is not the focus point for everyone. Like when the salary is in an okay level or okay plus level, you're quite happy with it. And then other things come like more important, like the culture and the products that I have been like developing and all that. So it can attract people who are very motivated about the salary. But for the normal people, when your salary is an okay plus level, that's fine. That's enough.
Yeah, so the Maslow.
Yeah,
you're fulfilling yourself.
Yeah, it's fulfilling yourself.
Is there anything, a company that has not yet rooted itself in these structures, as you mentioned, that can do? And what would that be? Like, how can you play around a little bit if you're growing?
They can do multiple different things, but for the benefit of for the small companies, that you're like, there's not so much hierarchy in your company. The leadership, the management is very close. The communication is very easy. The role is probably more diverse than in a big company. And when you're hired to that kind of company, you have so much more different possibilities to grow the company and to be part of the development and same time develop yourself. So I think that is like the one thing that small companies should do more. like bring the good stuff out.
Yeah.
And really, like, small companies, in my opinion, small companies has much more or less to lose than bigger companies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they should be like more bold and more brave and be really like shaking the industry.
It's very true. It's the bigger you are, the more downside you have, and the more angry investors will be at you.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think we ran out of our 45 minutes. This was Allies Podcast. I'm Tomi Kaukinen. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It was great.